What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host, Josh, and we're coming back at you with a little transfers episode today. And I know I've stressed on the channel that we aren't going to talk transfers because I just realistically thought there wasn't going to be any transfers coming in or any transfers going out, mainly because we don't know what's going to happen with the manager position. I didn't think we were going to reinvest in players because if Edin Terzic doesn't resign, then we put a lot of money into players that maybe the future manager will not like, and that kind of leads to a situation just like Christian Eriksen over at Inter. However, there was an injury that has maybe changed my mind a little bit. We obviously know the injury of Witsel, which in my opinion isn't going to be addressed because we have 4 different center defensive mids. We have as cover Dahoud, we also have Delaney, we have Emre Can, and we have Bellingham. So we have 4, plus we have some in our U23 teams that we could potentially bring up. So it's not a huge concern. It just more or less meant that Julian Brandt is going to basically stay. So that solves basically from the midfield up. But at the back, in our most fragile position, we have 3 natural center backs. Zagadou, Hummels, Akanji. And guess what? Zagadou is going to be out for several weeks now, which is just ridiculous. The poor guy came back from injury and tore muscle fiber, and now we're in a big amount of trouble. We wish Zagadou all the best, but that more or less leaves 2 center backs. 2 center backs is absolutely not enough. If Kanji or Hummels go down, we're in a lot of trouble there because then it looks like we're going to more than likely have to put Chan or even potentially Piszczek there, who just aren't natural center backs in a 4-2-3-1 system. So that leads to the fun. That leads to some transfer rumors. So I came up with a list with 5 players who I realistically think could potentially come to Borussia Dortmund on loan. And I'm not going to talk about dropping any type of money, any dollar figures. These 5 center backs are all going to be from personally linked from me, and these are not rumors by any stretch of the imagination. But the players that I've picked out who either aren't getting enough playing time, or maybe contracts running down, and could potentially fit as a stopgap signing for Borussia Dortmund going forward, because we absolutely need another center back. And it's not a big deal bringing one in on loan for 6 months and then ship him off if we don't want to re-sign him. So let's get started. And I could potentially, for the first 3, go all 3 Chelsea center backs. But I've already mentioned one on the channel. That's Antonio Rudiger. I don't want to mention him anymore. Plus, he's actually playing a little bit more at Chelsea. But with Chelsea's number 1 duo being Kurt Zouma and Thiago Silva, and then obviously now Rudiger pumping his way back up, we're going to talk about Tomori first. So our first center back I'm linking to Borussia Dortmund as a little 6-month loan deal is Tomori. And that's because he has not started a single Premier League game and he only has 1 appearance under Chelsea, which is just unfortunate for him. He absolutely has to go. There's rumors of him being linked to Newcastle, being linked to Milan. But if Chelsea doesn't really want to give up on him quite yet, a 6-month loan deal could potentially be perfect for Dortmund. Bring in a young kid, get him definitely more minutes than the almost 0 minutes he's having right now at Chelsea. Plus, he's a quality young center back, and he could learn from the likes of Hummels and Akanji and come in when needed. Going on to our 4th one is staying again exactly with Chelsea, and it's obviously going to be ANDREAS Christensen. And I like Christensen a little bit more than Tomori, mainly because Tomori, like I mentioned, is already being linked to Milan, and that deal could very well go through before this video even comes out. But I didn't want to talk about Rudiger again, and I wanted to talk about Tomori because I thought it was a little more likely that he leaves, and we might just go in there and steal it from Milan. But another center back is ANDREAS Christensen, who's 24 years old. He's only played 5 games for Chelsea this season, which again, for a player of his quality, is not enough. And he's got experience in the Bundesliga. He went to Gladbach on a 2-year loan deal and honestly played very well for Gladbach, which is the whole reason why Chelsea decided to keep him. But he's not breaking into those top 2 center back pairings, and it looks like Rudiger is even getting in front of him right now. So again, a 6-month loan deal, getting ANDREAS Christensen to come over for Dortmund in a league he's familiar with, being a young player looking to get more minutes than he's obviously getting right now, and seeing the poor Dortmund depleted back line of just Akanji and Hummels right now, I don't see why Christensen wouldn't want to go there for a 6-month loan deal. Stopgap situation doesn't hurt anyone. So those are the 2 Chelsea ones going on. Leading into our 3rd different center back who I'm linking on loan is going to be NICOLAS NKOULOU from Torino. So this one's a little iffy because Torino's got a dreadful season so far. They just sacked their manager. So maybe NKOULOU finds a way back into the squad, but he's only started 6 games, played a total of 8, and it just isn't really fancied in that team right now, on top of the fact that his contract is coming to an end. So it could be a potential, and it's a little unlikely, but it could be a potential he comes to Dortmund for a 6-month loan deal and then either sees out his contract, he's a free agent, could potentially re-sign for Dortmund, or Torino's like, what's the point of doing that? We don't want to let him go. But it's a very tricky situation. You see it a lot with players' contracts who run down. Torino may look to re-sign him and then immediately loan him back out, or they just might loan him out and say, all right, we'll give you your wish. You want to go out on loan? Comes to Dortmund. He's 30 years old, relatively sturdy center back. I'd have no problem him coming in as a stopgap situation to help out with Hummels and also Akanji. But the top two are the ones that I'm really excited to talk about. Both come from La Liga, and I'm going to talk about the one that has actually, the only one on the list who has actually been relatively linked to Borussia Dortmund, and that is Eder Militao. Eder Militao was a very exciting young Brazilian center back. He got his name known in Porto, got a big money move over to Madrid. He's known to play out on right back. He can play through the middle, of course, as a center back. And I didn't even realize how little time he's played. The 23-year-old has played one start, and he's got 2 appearances for Madrid. That is ridiculous for a kid who's got such talent, such potential. No wonder he's being linked to the door and hopefully being linked to Borussia Dortmund. He's also being linked with Bayern Munich. But I mean, come on, this one makes total sense. It's what we have a good working relationship with Madrid, but the Ranieri situation maybe throws that off. Ranier's obviously being linked back to Madrid, and if Madrid doesn't really like the way that we're treating their loanee players, maybe it's not an opportunity to go there. But if we're looking to buy, maybe. But again, like I mentioned, all this list has to be loans. So we either have to go up to Madrid and say, listen, this kid will definitely play more than Ranieri will be playing, and we can show it. We have 2 center backs, and we need him, plus he can help out on the right. Maybe Madrid say, okay, take him on a 6-month loan deal, and maybe we give him back Ranieri. I don't know exactly how it worked, but it's a legitimate rumor that's out there, which is why I definitely wanted to talk about it. And I just think that Militao is a fantastic young player. I have no problem if Dortmund signed him permanently, but I think getting him on a 6-month loan deal would just be perfect. I think he's quick, he's agile, he's a good center back, and the versatility out on the right-hand side. We do have 3 different right backs there, but it doesn't hurt because we know that position can sometimes be a little vulnerable. So that's definitely one. But the final one is a pure JJD TV rumor, and this one has not been linked whatsoever, but it's another 6-month loan deal to me that makes perfect sense, and that's Sergi Gómez from Sevilla. Now, this is a Spanish international. This is a player who at one point almost looked like he was going to partner Sergio Ramos as the starting center back for the Spanish national team. And this season, he got edged out by Diego Carlos and Jules Koundé, and he's only started 3 games and only had 3 appearances. He's 28 years old. He's a relatively solid center back, and I think there's no reason why this couldn't be a potential loan deal. We have done business with Sevilla in the past as well. He could potentially come in and, again, just be a more experienced body, knowing that he will get a little rotation with Akanji and Hummels. He's experienced. I'd be very excited to see him come to Dortmund, and I think it could be a realistic rumor that I just made up. But those are some targets that I wanted to see us potentially go over because, like I mentioned on the channel a lot of times, we aren't going to be dropping any money. We aren't going to be selling players. It's going to be a very boring window. But I think with the injury to Zagadou might push the board's hand to go out and make a creative kind of deal, go for a 6-month loan deal, and those are some of the names that popped up for me for different kinds of reasons, and we'll have to, I guess, wait and see if one of them is going to be addressed or not, because if not, it's more than likely going to mean that if something happens to Akanji or Hummels, I guess it's going to be Emre Can or Piszczek having to fill in the back. So let me know what you guys think about those 5 different targets. Which one would you like to see? Do you think they're realistic? And you can even put them in order if you want to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little transfers episode. We don't get to do a lot of them because of the lack of transfer activity from Dortmund, but this is the fun one we got to do. So if you are new around here, guys, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.